Welcome back to our podcast at Home on the Lakeshore, where we talk about home loans with our local home loan experts right here at UnitedOne Credit Union. My name is Mike, and this is episode number 27. I'd like to welcome in our local home loan experts. We have Carrie and Marla joining us today. How are you both doing?
Fabulous.
Wonderful.
Excellent. That was almost in unison, like in harmony. That's pretty good.
Wonderful.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't sing.
Oh, well, you know what? That fits well. A nice chuckle to start the show. As you may have noticed, listeners, there is no Julie today, so that's the closest to the joke of the day that we're going to get today. It's a little harmony and a little fun there. Maybe someday we could have the mortgage singers, or perhaps something like that. A
Only if the
karaoke.
processors can sing.
Yeah, let's bring them in on that.
The mortgage choir,
Yeah.
appearing one night only.
After happy hour, maybe. That's about the only way I would get up there.
Right?
There you go. There you go. That's like me with karaoke. I've got to at least have a little
Liquid
bit of
courage.
liquid courage. Yes,
Yeah.
Yep.
exactly. All righty. Well, without further ado, we'll get started with today's topic. So today we've got a good one. How do I get ready to buy a home? If this is the year that you're ready to move from renting to buying your own home, or perhaps you're outgrowing the current home that you're in and you're ready to move into a newer home with more space for you and your family, well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to talk about the tips and things to keep in mind that will help you be ready to buy a home. So, experts, who wants to lead us off with this one? This is probably one of the biggest, most important questions I would assume that you guys get pretty often is what do I need to buy a home?
It is. It's
Yeah.
definitely a very popular question. And I guess what I would suggest is you don't want to put the cart before the horse. You need to kind of know what you can afford and what works in your budget before you start house shopping in order to kind of know what's a good price range to be looking for.
Yeah, I could see that probably being one of the pitfalls to avoid is we get so excited about what's out there on the market. That's the kind of the shiny, exciting part of home buying is, ooh, look at the homes that are available, whether that's a new construction or recent construction or an older neighborhood and what's for sale. And maybe that's what's triggered the thought in your mind. I know when I bought my first home I was I was driving around town, I'd see home for sale signs and I'd start to wonder, I wonder what that looks like on the inside or how much that costs. But what you guys are saying is that it's best to get started with taking a look at your budget before you start shopping, right?
Correct.
Right. Another thing you could do is review your credit. You are able to go and utilize resources like annualcreditreport.com, and it'll allow you to get a free copy of your credit report. This is great because you can see, what is reporting, if there's anything you need to dispute or clear up as part of the mortgage process. Having things that aren't negatively impacting you is going to be important, as well as seeing what kind of potential rates you'd qualify for with that credit score is really helpful too.
Think we have some
Um,
helpful tips that could help. We have the calculators on our
yeah.
website that you could go in and start punching in some numbers based on rates that you're seeing as you're beginning to shop around, or if you've reached out to us at the credit union. We have our rates posted right online. We're not shy. We're not scared. We're not afraid of. We feel we have very competitive rates. So there's a great way to kind of get a look and compare that with what you may be paying for rent, right?
Right.
Correct.
Paying down debts and saving is also another great thing to do to prepare yourself for purchasing a home. Um, Something that we consider is a what's called a debt to income ratio. So in theory, the less debts you have, the more buying power you could have.
And we also can sit down and talk to you to see what you can afford. Like, let's say you're paying 1,200 a month for rent right now, and that is comfortable. That fits in your budget. We can run you numbers to show you if you want to keep your payment around 1,200 a month, here's what you could go up to for a purchase price and kind of see how that sits with what you're looking to get. Do the numbers match up with your dreams and expectations of what kind of house you want? And if not, like Marla said, we can work on, well, what do you need to do to get to that point to be able to afford a bigger payment, by reducing some of your other payments or things like that. We don't want to make you house poor. We can tell you
Right.
what you can go up
Hmm.
to, but that's not always a comfortable payment for everyone.
Yeah, I always say on paper, this is what you can afford, but do you really
Right?
want to spend that on a mortgage payment each month? That's, reality is, on paper, yeah, that sounds great, but
Hmm.
not everyone wants to have, like Carrie said, be house poor. You want to be able to afford other things in life as well as a
We
house.
we can run you a range of numbers and show you from your current payment up to the max that you can afford what different house payments are for different purchase prices.
Yeah, we don't want folks saying, "Hey, come over and see our new house," and then you're sitting on a bag chair or a box,
Yeah, or your
folding
lawn
Yeah,
tables and
chairs.
things. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we've all been
right.
there before. I'm sure at certain times, either during the move
Maybe
or things like
college
that. You
days,
know,
that's
yeah.
okay, but
What's wrong with bean
Oh,
bags? Those are fun.
fun to sit in,
the
not so fun to
gamer's
get out of.
chair.
That's true. Yeah.
So, what are some other tips or things as people are just starting in this journey that could be beneficial, or things to keep in mind as maybe this is the year that it's finally time to start building equity and getting your own home?
Well, you want to make sure you, like Marla was saying, when you check that credit report, let's say you have some unpaid things that turned into judgments against you. It's good to get those cleared up. We need to make sure when you buy a house, there's nothing that can be placed as a lien against that property when you purchase it. So if you have any judgments out there, you want to make sure to get those paid off and kind of document where those funds came from. Like, is it from your savings or did you take out a car loan? There's certain rules that we have to follow. So it's always good to sit down with a lender and just kind of talk it out. That way, like, okay, if you have this, how can I wrap it up? How do I take care of it? How much time do I have to wait before I can get a mortgage? Things like that.
I think that's something that's important that you just brought up, Carrie, too, is that the mortgage process is a bit of a longer process, right? There's
It
different
is.
steps to go through. It can take a while. So don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush. It's okay to take your time to get the right information, to get the right experts on your side so that you've got everything lined up. Because we're not talking about a small purchase, even on the lower end of mortgage prices these days, they're this is a pretty big expense, and for a lot of folks it's the largest expense they'll have in their lives. So you want to make sure you set it up right and have everything you need ready to go.
Yes. I mean, the purchase from the time we get your accepted offer, once you do find a house, to signing papers typically takes around 30 to 45 days. So even before that, there's a process, sometimes that we need to go through to get you to the point of being ready to put in the offer. So it's not a bad idea to start a couple months before you actually want to be moving into that new house, just to make sure you have everything ready to go.
Excellent. Any other tips for first-time home buyers or people that think that this is the year we're finally making that taking that plunge, taking that jump?
I would just reiterate, meeting with your local experts, because there's programs and there's other things out there that we could maybe see if you qualify for that could help maybe with the down payment or closing costs or have benefits because you're a first time home buyer. So sometimes, we've already done that research for you. So coming right to us is helpful because we can talk through that and figure out which one could fit for you and which one would work.
And we can take a look at your employment history. Ideally, we want you to have a 2-year history of full-time employment. We can check if you had any job gaps or if you're recently graduated out of school. Sometimes we can count some of that school time towards the job time. But it's good to look at all of that stuff to make sure you're ready and you're at a point where we can use your income as well.
Okay. And we would encourage people to go back and listen to some previous podcast shows. We've had experts on the show that talk about the other various aspects of owning a home. It's good to be studied up on that, so to speak. So, working with a local realtor and the benefits of that, especially for first time home buyers, and some of the things to be aware of, and how that process will go as you get closer to, selecting that home and shopping for that home and picking the one that's going to become your future home. Working with insurance and those elements that are involved with that is a little bit different than when you're a renter, as well as other things as well, home inspections and appraisals and all of that we've had in previous podcast episodes. So please, if you haven't listened to any of those, and this is the year that you're going to get your first home, go back and give those a listen. We've got some excellent expert advice into some of those areas so that you can be as prepared as possible and be as comfortable as possible when you're going through this process. As we wrap up today's episode, Carrie, Marla, anything else you'd like to add, please?
Yes, actually, I just wanted to mention that we do have an episode coming up that may be helpful as well. So make sure to keep listening because we're going to talk about like the do's and don'ts. And that's very important too. That'll give you more information of things to do and not to do when you're looking to buy or refinance your house.
I love it. The teaser, the hook. Come back for more.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait.
But if you are in the market this year, don't wait either. You can pick up the phone. You can reach out to us by email. Come stop by one of the branch offices. Make an appointment online. Start having those conversations. That's why we're here. We're here to help you navigate this. That's why we have the local experts so that you can yourself become an expert on your own mortgage journey. So thank you, Marla, Carrie, for joining us today. And thank you for all of our listeners. Very relevant to today's conversation is we do welcome you to visit our website at UnitedOne.org. You can find in our mortgage section there a checklist for buying a home. So that's a great place to get started, as well as you can go in there and see that checklist that we have available online completely for free for you to check out and see some of the elements that you need to have in place. But remember, our experts are always here to help you, to guide you, and that this is what we do. And we want to help you make this process as simple and as stress-free as we possibly can. So thank you, Marla, Carrie, for joining us today. And thank you again, listeners. We'd love to highlight if you have any questions for us. We'd love to highlight that in a future show. Go ahead and send that our way. You can email us, homeloans@unitedone.org, or you can see us online on social media. You can find us at Facebook/UnitedOneCU, or also on Instagram at UnitedOneCU. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to having you join us in the next podcast. But until then, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.